My book, Your Content Rebellion, is officially out, and I could not be more excited to share it with you. But you know me, so I also wanted to take this opportunity to not only celebrate with you, but also give you all the dirt on my journey of going from book idea to book done. So listen up, watch up, if writing a book is on your business bucket list too. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Haley Dale and I am a content strategist, now published author, I guess I can say that, helping you create more purposeful, productive, and yes, profitable content. So if that sounds like something that you're looking for, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below this video to get regular value-packed videos every single Monday. I have always loved to write, so it should come as no surprise that when I started my business, at the pinnacle of what I considered to be the end goal of being a business owner, not that like my business journey is over or anything, was to publish a book. That was kind of like the thing that I really wanted to achieve. And this is not a new goal. This is something that I have been trying to do for years now. You can ask my biz friends, you can ask my accountability buddies, you can ask the book coaches that I have hired to get me through this process where I just have not followed through. This has been a long time in the works. So the idea for this book actually came from observations that I had of myself and my peers. I witnessed how much pressure that we were placing on ourselves when it came to content. The pressure tends to sabotage even the best and most ambitious of content planning intentions. We set out to, really create these awesome content strategies and put out this awesome content, and yet there are things that sabotage us, and some of those things are creating content using a process that we don't love, and a lot of that is influenced by the shoulds that we take on from other people. And so the book was a way of helping entrepreneurs like myself and like my peers free themselves from that forceful, unenjoyable content creation process by helping them identify the content strategy that is most aligned with what's going to work for them through a process of experimentation, what I call play shops in the book. So when I was creating a nonfiction book, I wasn't sure where to start. And so since I'm better at creating courses, I actually created a course first. So this was the easiest first step for my journey. But after I created that course, it kind of sat there for a really long time. So year after year, Amber McHugh runs something called the Planathon, and she has been my business mentor for years. Probably the person who's had the biggest influence in my business is Amber McHugh. And so in the Planathon, she has you create these goal cards. I wish I had one here to share with one of mine to share with you. But essentially every single year I would put on my goal card, write and publish a book. And every year, without fail, I would meet every single other goal on that. I would crush all the other goals on that goal card, except the book thing. It felt like this albatross, this thing that was constantly eluding me. So I never followed through on it. But what I know now is, even though I'm like 4 years into the process now of writing the book, it really has come together in the last year, besides the bits pulled from that course that I created to go along with this. So what this made me realize, and this is also another Amber McHughism, is that it's right on time. So that's something that she says, you're never late, you're right on time. And I think this is true because when I think about the powerful stories and the powerful teachings that I have in the book, a lot of those weren't ready until this year. I was too new in my business. It wasn't fully baked yet, right? So here's the truth. I wasn't a failure that the book didn't get done sooner than this, because the book wasn't ready and neither was I. So if you're writing a book, if you're struggling to write a book or want to write a book, I want to share 5 tips that really, really helped me in going from book idea to book done, especially when it had been this thing that I struggled with for so long. Here are the 5 things that really helped it come together. Tip number 1 is to get an outside perspective. So the thing that finally got me on my way and out of my own head was getting an outside perspective from somebody I have 100% trust in. So I hired Jody Brandon from Jody Brandon Editorial to do a book coaching intensive with me, and we actually did it in Nashville. I was going there for an event, and so we were able to take on the intensive day while I was there, and it was incredible. Not only did I walk away with a writing plan and with a chapter by chapter outline from that one day, I knew exactly what I needed to do. But more importantly than that, and I know that this is probably not what I'm supposed to say, but getting an outside perspective and getting outside validation that my idea was good was something that I really needed at this point. I think that I'd been so guarded with the book and sharing the ideas with anyone because I didn't feel ready. It felt really insecure about it. And I know we're supposed to get our own internal validation, but just that little bit of external, yeah, this sounds really valuable, or yeah, I think people really need that, was what I needed to finally take action on the book and finally move it from something that I was like scared to share with people and put out into the world. Tip number 2 was to figure out the right questions. So I've talked about the power of curiosity before and how we use questions to kind of guide anything we create, any piece of content, but the same is true with books. In fact, I'm going to link up the video here for that curiosity video. I think what intimidated me with a book is that it's a huge piece of writing, right? I have written big things before, and my master's page thesis was like 80-ish pages, but even still a book is even bigger than that, and it felt really, really intimidating to take that on. And I realized like what didn't work for me was just sitting down at my desk and being like, write a book, right? Or work on the book. But what did work for me was thinking of each chapter and the questions that it needed to answer and just focusing on answering those questions and then piecing them, stitching them together. So if I could make this project as teeny tiny as I could as possible, that was when I finally started to get things done rather than sitting down with this blinking cursor trying to write a book from start to finish. And that kind of leads up to tip number 3, which is content interviews. So speaking of questions, another tool that I used was actually transcripts to finish some of it. So I hired a longtime mastermind student of mine, Abby Bloom-Suds. She is a tech automation whiz, OBM, but I asked her because she had recently gone through the course version of Your Content Rebellion, and she told me about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you want to come? And she's familiar with my work, so I brought her on to do some content interviews for myself. And normally I'm the one doing this with clients, so it felt very weird to have the tables turned on me there. So we met up for 4 one-hour sessions, and during that I had the list of questions. I sent them to her ahead of time to add any that she thought should be added on there as well. And her and I just had conversations, and I was able to take those and transcribe them and then rework them into the book sections that felt a little lean. So tip number 4, focus on shorter pieces of content. So another place that I went to get content to add into the books besides the course was actually blog posts, right? So I identified some chapters that maybe I needed to fill out a little bit more, and so I came up with a way of adding them into my content calendar. So I would be creating blog posts around the topic that I could then steal for the blog post and rewrite a little bit and add more examples. So I know that some people would be afraid of, oh my gosh, but why is someone going to buy the book if they've read it on your blog post already? Well, I think that people appreciate it in context, in the whole thing. I know I do. One of my favorite books, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he pulls most of that from his blog. As I'm going through the chapters, which I love, I'm like, I read this here, I read this here, I read this in this blog post. So it is familiar, but it's a totally different journey when you see it all together. So between the questions and the content interviews and the blog posts, and then the actual writing I did, I was able to limit the amount of writing that I had to do. And so by focusing on these shorter pieces of content and how they assembled up to something bigger, that was really key for me in getting the book done. So where do you have an opportunity to do that? And then tip number 5, race to the first draft. Once I completed my first draft, and it was around 40,000 words, I was able to print that puppy out and I was able to start editing it up and marking it up on paper. I needed to have it in paper in front of me. But what I loved about it is once that first draft came together, it went very, very quickly from that point on. There's something about having a first draft in front of you. There's a magic of it that just makes all the pieces come together. And all of a sudden, I wasn't afraid of it anymore. So I think as quickly as you can move, get to that first draft, the better off you're going to be. Like I said, I'm right on time with this book, and there's a lot of stories and there's a lot of things that like client stories that I include in it that I never would have been able to include had I written the book when I originally intended. So it's right on time. So if you're curious about checking out the book and launching your own content rebellion, I will put the link below this video, and I would love to hear any questions you have. If you're writing your own book, I'd love to know the topic you're thinking about, and make sure to like this video and subscribe using the button below this video if you want more videos like this, which are dropped every single Monday.